Imagine being born into one of the most famous musical families in history, a world of luxury, fame, and fortune where success seems inevitable. Now imagine that instead of being celebrated, you are constantly compared to your father, dismissed as just another privileged celebrity child and told that you'll never make it on your own. This was the reality for Nancy Sinatra. She was the daughter of the legendary Frank Sinatra, a man whose voice defined an era. But while the world adored him, they doubted her. No one believed that Nancy could ever step out of his shadow, let alone create a career of her own. She released music, but it went unnoticed. She tried to break into Hollywood, but the industry wasn't convinced. Just when her career seemed doomed to fade into obscurity, Nancy did something no one expected. She reinvented herself. With the help of a visionary producer, she embraced a new sound, a new image, and a new attitude. And in 1966, she released a song that didn't just silence the critics, it made history. These Boots Are Made for Walking wasn't just a hit. It was a revolution. It turned Nancy Sinatra into a global superstar and symbol of female empowerment, and a trendsetter who influenced music and fashion for generations to come. But what happened before that moment? What was it like growing up as Frank Sinatra's daughter? And what did Nancy do after her biggest song changed everything? This is the untold story of Nancy Sinatra, her struggles, her triumphs, and the legacy she carved out in her own right. Nancy Sinatra's early life, the challenge of being a Sinatra. Nancy Sandra. Sinatra was born on June 8, 1940, in Jersey City, New Jersey, the first child of Frank Sinatra and Nancy Barbado. From the moment she was born, she was surrounded by music. Her father, though not yet the global superstar he would become, was already making waves in the music industry. As his fame skyrocketed, the Sinatra family moved to Hollywood, where young Nancy was raised in a world that most people could only dream of. Despite her privileged upbringing, Nancy's childhood was far from ordinary. With her father constantly away on tours and her parents' marriage struggling under the weight of his rising fame, Nancy experienced both the glamour and the loneliness that came with being part of a famous family. She idolized her father, but she also knew that being his daughter came with enormous pressure. Even as a child, Nancy was drawn to the arts. She studied music, dance, and acting, preparing herself for a career in entertainment. But while she had the passion, she lacked the one thing she needed most: an opportunity to prove herself. The early career struggles a rocky start in the music industry. In the early 1960s, Nancy finally got her chance. Signed to her father's label, Reprise Records, she began releasing music, hoping to follow in Frank's footsteps. But there was a problem. Her songs weren't connecting with audiences. They lacked identity, and Nancy's soft, sweet vocal style didn't stand out in a rapidly changing music industry dominated by rock and roll, British invasion bands, and bold new female voices. Her first few singles barely made an impact. The critics weren't kind, and the public wasn't interested. By 1965, Reprise Records was ready to drop her. Nancy had two choices: give up or transform, and that's when she met Lee Hazlewood. Lee Hazlewood, the man who transformed Nancy Sinatra. Lee Hazlewood was not your typical music producer. Known for his deep, rich voice and unconventional songwriting style, he saw potential in Nancy that others had overlooked. He told her that if she wanted to make it in the industry, she needed to reinvent herself completely, starting with her voice. Hazlewood advised Nancy to lower her vocal tone, making her delivery sound more confident, sultry, and commanding. She took his advice and, together, they crafted a new musical identity, one that would soon change her life. Then came the song that defined her career. The song that changed everything. These Boots Are Made for Walking. When Nancy first heard These Boots Are Made for Walking, she knew it was something special. Written by Lee Hazlewood, the song was bold, empowering, and unlike anything she had ever recorded before. It told the story of a woman who had been wronged, and who wasn't afraid to stand up for herself. Nancy didn't just sing the song, she owned it. Her newfound confidence, combined with the song's infectious bassline and unforgettable lyrics, made for a powerful combination. When the track was released in 1966, it exploded. The song topped the Billboard charts, selling over 1 million copies. It became an anthem for women everywhere, long before feminism became mainstream. The message was clear: women were no longer going to be walked over. But it wasn't just the music that made Nancy a symbol. Nancy's knee-high go-go boots, miniskirts, and fierce stage presence turned her into a trendsetter. When she performed the song on television, surrounded by dancers in matching boots, she created one of the most legendary pop culture moments of the decade. Beyond boots, a career that proved her talent. Most expected Nancy to be a one-hit wonder. She wasn't. She and Lee Hazlewood continued to collaborate, creating more unforgettable hits like Summer Wine, Some Velvet Morning, and Jackson. She proved that she was more than just a catchy song. She was a serious artist. Hollywood soon took notice. In 1968, Nancy starred alongside Elvis Presley in Speedway. The film wasn't a huge blockbuster, but it cemented her status as one of the coolest women in entertainment. While her music career thrived, she also took on a new role, preserving the Sinatra legacy. As her father aged, Nancy worked tirelessly to honor his contributions to music, ensuring that the Sinatra name remained timeless. The later years, a resurgence of influence. By the late 1970s, the music industry had changed again, and Nancy gradually stepped away from the spotlight. But her influence never truly faded. In the 1990s, Quentin Tarantino featured her song, Bang Bang, My Baby Shot Me Down, in Kill Bill Volume 1, reigniting interest in her music. Young artists from U2 to Lana Del Rey cited her as an inspiration. Nancy also became an advocate for artists' rights, speaking out about the music industry and how female artists were often overlooked or undervalued. Even today, Nancy Sinatra remains a symbol of independence, reinvention, and resilience. The legacy of Nancy Sinatra lives on. Nancy Sinatra didn't just step out of her father's shadow. She created her own spotlight. From struggling to be taken seriously to becoming a music and fashion symbol, her journey is a powerful reminder that success isn't always handed to you. Sometimes you have to walk toward it yourself. Now, we want to hear from you. What's your favorite Nancy Sinatra song? Do you think she was ahead of her time? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into her life, if you are like this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Because just like Nancy's boots, we're always walking toward the next great story.